Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the podcast, of the Ikigai podcast. I am Kevin, one of your hosts.
Hey, I'm Brian.
And I'm on.
And this is episode 12. You sound dead inside, bro. It is
We
like
are all.
it is 10, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
For our audio listeners. I actually for all listeners, I'm dumb.
Yeah.
Today in school, I was taking a quiz like a couple days in class, and I thought
Yeah.
0/0 is 0.
Oh, Kevin,
That's
you
Um,
fool.
That's pretty bad. But hey guys. For all our audio listeners out there listening on Spotify, whatever. Um, Dude, I looked at the stats and there's a lot of you guys audio listening. And if you guys could drop a sub, smile.
Smile face.
okay, the weird thing
Yeah, we
is,
call
we
it-
looked ourselves up, and we were apparently number 14 in anime and manga in
Wait,
freaking
yeah.
New Zealand.
Yeah,
New
that's
Zealanders, let's
Fucking
go.
New Zealand. Let's go.
Yo, New Zealand listeners, how you guys doing?
Big
over there?
respect for you guys over there.
But yeah, in all reality, we're working on some big projects this year. So please go check them out. So it's a lot of gaming based stuff, but hopefully it's like less on the game side and more on the story side. So if you guys really like that sort of idea, go check it out. But anyways, it is September, the
Yep.
September podcast, and we are here just getting ready for school or already ready for school.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I am a senior in high school, and is a freshman in college, and Brian is stupid.
I am a junior in college. Fuck off.
Technically, you're a senior.
No, well, no.
Next,
Seniority doesn't really count when you want to graduate early. I guess is the best way to do it.
Oh, that's an
Yeah.
L. No.
Well, I mean, it probably isn't, right? I'm pretty sure it doesn't count.
yeah.
No, I think sometimes they base you on your credits, like treat your credits because
Really? Oh, I thought it was based off of like literal like how many years have you stayed in college?
I might be wrong.
Yeah, I mean that's why I had that talk with my mom too. So I don't know.
It's weird though because there are some people entering. Like I know some people in my year who are entering with 70 credits or so. They're like basically it's so. I'm like what?
The
If you're a
tryhards.
you're
Jesus.
done with a junior. Like you're a junior basically. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, just for quick context, I am a junior, aka third year in college, but I am planning on graduating early, so that's the context behind this.
Slave away, working.
Yeah.
But fuck, what? I was gonna say something. Oh yeah. Fun fact. Brian's in his dorm now, so that's also a thing.
Yeah.
I
I
am
am.
still at home. I'm crying, and Un is still at home. He commutes to college.
It sucks. I'm saving money, so I'm not.
Oh, but speaking of, I guess, college, how is it for you, on? I know you're very new to it. Oh,
Oh
okay.
my
I
God,
think
he's
that
having
I think
fun.
that says a lot.
Okay, the thing is, the classes I take aren't that bad. It's the fact that I'm taking like 8 classes. Maybe like
Oh,
okay,
why would you do that to
technically,
yourself?
technically, it's if you're talking about technicality in how the classes split up and have different time slot. Like sometimes a class is like a lab and a lecture. So if you split those apart and count them as their own thing, I
Right.
have 10.
Oh, I see.
And I have only 14 credits. It doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. It's a 14 credit semester, but I have 10 classes technically.
Yeah, that is wacko.
Mm.
Music majors, am I right? Uh,
I have to drop to BA now. I used to be BM. Now I have to do IT. Oh, pain, even more pain.
Rip.
yep.
The thing is, it's weird though because I am in the college orchestra, and it's insane. Like, it's 1 credit, but I am putting more effort into it than like 2, 3 credit classes.
Oh, dang.
It's so it doesn't make sense. Like people, they sometimes they underestimate how much work you have to put into music and the dedication of time you have to put. It's
Oh
insane.
yeah, definitely. I mean, like people sink years into that shit just to like be okay, you know?
Hmm,
Sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I've
definitely.
been playing for like 9 years. What is it? 9 years on violin.
How many on piano?
13?
Say that again?
13. I
18?
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
18.
I think. No, I
God
what?
damn.
What? 18? Wait.
I heard
Yeah,
18.
God
it came
damn,
out of the.
18! Yo, came out
Like,
of the womb.
I was about to be like, that doesn't
Ready.
add up.
no. 13,
Oh,
13, 13.
13.
13.
Okay.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
There
But
you go,
yeah,
audio
but the
listeners. I
thing
got
is,
you.
I don't know. It's very intimidating because the thing is, for both instrument, I kind of fell off. Starting around COVID, like I was doing like decently well, and then I just stopped practicing. It just, the school just kind of dropped everything. But now I'm being surrounded by. I think that's the one thing I actually like about college, being surrounded by so many different people, and there's so many people that are like so talented. It's insane. Like I actually have to. It sounds bad, but I have to try now. But it's good. It's better than being a big fish in a small pond.
Yeah,
Hmm,
definitely.
yeah, right.
I mean, yeah, that's always something that is pretty awesome. I mean, for me, the class that has given me the most amount of shit, I took this class is animation. Luckily, the high school that we go to, or that I guess you guys used to go to, we have animation, which is super sick. It's a super sick class. But I suck at drawing. Like I absolutely am, like completely dog shit at it. But I'm taking the class, and I'm enjoying myself. I guess we haven't done any
Hmm,
animation yet, but you know how it
I think
is.
I have a
hmm.
I think I have a friend who took animation. He did textile animation, so
Yeah, you
it's
guys
kind of
do.
open. Yeah, it's kind of open to different style, which is really.
Yeah, it's not just like 2D. We're gonna be doing like flip book, 3D, stop motion. So it's gonna be interesting. Um,
Yeah,
uh,
that's actually crazy. Not gonna lie.
yeah. So I get to bring in my Human H420 Osu tablet, and bring it to school to draw. So that's cool.
Uh,
I'm also taking photography, which is kind of scary. I don't know how good I am at taking pictures as I am writing and all the
Hmm.
other stuff, but I mean, again, it's a lot of it's a learning curve. I gotta do it, so I'll do it, and it's classes I actually enjoy, so take it.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I've taken photography before, and I mean, I don't know how well it's gonna be compared to your side of things, but as I guess my own reference point, it was very easy. It's a lot like an art class in that sense as well. Um, and you just really learn basics, and you roll with it with what they teach you. Like, they at least for my class, they didn't teach us composition per se, but it was kind of hinted where it was like, "Yo, this is good composition right here. I like it," you know. And I was like, "Oh, this is what I did here was composition."
Nice.
So
I
yeah.
popped off.
But then you slowly get to learn what, like, I guess what good composition is based on what everyone else, how not only you view on everyone else's, but everyone else's views yours, and how other people view other people's. It's really interesting where it's uh, a way you just build each other up based on, I guess, critiquing each other, which is kind of, it's not as pressure, it's not as blatant as I tell it to be. It's a lot more subtle, where it'll just be people like, oh, like, look at that, I like what you did with showing off this subject or whatever. So
Yeah, I
that's just.
mean, the thing that I'm most afraid of is that like I'm not a big fan of photography. I'm more like, the big fan of just like the key moments in life, you know what I mean?
Mm,
And
yeah,
like snapping a good picture when I want to snap it, not like, just snapping pictures just to snap them.
well,
yeah,
like the completed assignment.
What?
Like,
yeah.
have you
Well,
had to?
no, it's I
No,
think
like
I think
snapping pictures. Wait, sorry, what?
I think I kind of get it, right? Like what you're trying to go for is that you don't want it to be, I guess, staged in a way, but more just kind of natural.
Yeah,
I
like
don't. Yeah.
I'm not a big fan for like having like not like I understand like photo shoots like when you're doing clothing, when you're
Oh,
doing merch, but like when you're purposely like putting out like a flower, which is
I
what we
mean,
did and taking pictures of it. I'm not like I don't care really.
I mean, the thing is with that is that's where, in a way, you have to come to the realization that photography is a lot like art, I guess, because it's not because photography is very technical, but again, it's an art. So you're either way, you are purposely setting something up, whether it's your shot composition, how you're gonna angle it, you know. So
Yeah, but
I
I like the
it's
that
more.
that the
I think what you meant is like it's less. It's more of a spontaneous nature of what you meant. Is that
yeah,
what you?
I like the variability in just like everything from like you taking this picture at this certain time and this certain, instead of like a fixed thing, you know what I mean? Like
Oh, okay.
it's like anime where it's like of course you purposely put out these scenes like at this time blah blah blah, right? But it's not like but it's like it's there's still variables that you put into play that affect the characters. It's not just like we're just gonna put them in a white canvas and then be done with it.
I mean, that's. I mean, I still kind of debate against that because either way, you're also putting materials there. At least you want. I don't know how much freedom your
Uh,
photography class gives you. I guess,
no,
but
like okay, yeah, what I'm saying
yeah,
is that like I understand photo shoots, right? And like I think they're good, but I don't like it when it's super plain and just like you don't. It's just taking pictures. It's not because in these things you get to interact with either the nature, you get to put items in, but this was just it's just plain is what I'm trying to say. You
Oh,
know, it's just like
okay.
I like going in and changing things the way I want to change them, and like having actual like different things to work with rather than something super linear.
Hmm.
I
I
get
think
it's like the best way to put it.
All right.
Okay, so the thing, how I can relate, I think I know what you're talking about because going back a bit to when you're talking about like peers review, like peer reviewing each other and critiquing your work. I recently snuck into this like yesterday. I snuck into a composition meeting. Even though I wasn't taking, because the thing is, in applied lessons, like let's say I'm right now I'm taking applied piano. There would be a group lesson with all the students under that teacher.
Yeah.
So, I snuck into the composition meeting, and the people were all super nice. They're like so much older than me, but what we talked about was our thought process, or like our process of going through creating a piece of work. And I think that's where you were going off of, where photo shoots is a way of process and how someone creates a work of photography. It's just not your style of thought process or your process of setting up to do photography. It's just not
Uh.
what you do.
No, not necessarily, because here's
Oh.
like the main problem, right? Is that photo shoots is a broad term, and that's why I have to use it and specify what type of photo shoot I was doing.
Are you talking about like modeling, where someone just dresses up? There's like a white background, and they just take a bunch of photos
Yeah,
while
I think
the
this
model
might be
poses.
just a
Is that what you mean?
disconnect from what we understand from what you're learning in
Yeah.
class versus
Okay.
what we both know.
So modeling is different, right? And those photo shoots are different. Like again, when you're doing merch or something like that, you actually have something to play with, right? You can
Okay.
put them in a white background or you cannot. But the way they dress and the way they structure themselves, that's the interesting part, right? But
Uh-huh.
when it's just like taking a picture for just the sake of taking it, that's when I find it a little boring. Like it could be a person, right? But if you have to take that picture and you don't control that person, you don't be like do it in this way or whatever. Like of course control is like you can't have too much control, but when you don't have that freedom to tell them what you want as a professional, what you think is best, I think that's the problem. When you can't mess around with these variables, it's when you get.
Oh,
That's
Uh,
okay.
probably a better way to word it,
Interesting.
but
Okay, I
But what
see.
about
Okay,
how
so
do you
yeah.
feel about candid shots then? Because sometimes candid shots. Because what is it? Remember the photo we took at the beach house?
Oh
When
yeah,
Annabelle
that's
took it.
true.
That was a candid shot. Annabelle didn't have any control over us. She just took the picture.
And
So how do you feel about that?
well, I think that's more or less again the variables, right? You have those variables in there, and when you take that shot in that moment, you're you are like, of course she could have waited, or you could wait to take a picture. You could, take the picture really fast, right? But in that moment, you decided to pull out that phone and take that picture. That was on you. You were the variable at that time, right?
Wait,
And
wait. So wait. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm a bit confused. But how does that differ from the example you gave when you said you take a photo of a person?
because you aren't getting that spontaneous action to take that picture.
Okay.
I
Wait,
think, yeah, I think
Okay,
that comes down to something more personal then, doesn't it? Rather than the subject
I
itself.
mean that's why I said okay, okay. I think you guys are too. I don't mean to be it, but I think it's too. You guys are taking it too flatly. Um, because okay, imagine yourself right in this white room, right,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a camera, right, and just pretend that you don't even care, right, but you are asked by like a higher up, take a fucking picture, and the only thing that you can change is literally where you walk in this entire white space of room, right? Like obviously you can make your own narrative with this, right? But
Mm-hmm.
just pretend like you're just sitting there, you're fucking bored, and you're forced to take a picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're just in that white room, right? And then when you compare it to when you're out, when you force yourself or someone forces you to go out to nature and say, take a goddamn picture for me, right? You have different things, like you have the environment, you have the people, you have where like, because nature is able to like there are more obstacles, right? But
So,
that doesn't
is
really.
it is it a matter of variety and content in when you're taking the image? Is that what you're trying to get
I mean,
at?
again, I think because when you're taking a photo shoot for clothing, there is no, there's no like grass or whatever, right, in a white space. But you do have like the options to do different things rather than when you're in that single white room where you have no option to do anything.
I mean,
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
okay.
So I think it's just
yeah.
a this is there's just a misunderstanding. That's where we're at because what you gave us was basically like an extreme example of why you don't like that kind of thing. Can you give an example of like a normal everyday
Okay.
like that's why I brought up earlier because I brought it out of nowhere. So I think that's why you guys were confused. But like if you were assigned a homework where you're forced to take a picture of a single subject like an apple under a white canvas. Are you talking about that kind of thing?
Yeah, where like, there is like it's hard because like you can make your own story, right? And
Right,
you
and
can
that's the
make your own,
thing.
but when you're forced to do it, right? And you don't have that ability to make that story, it it lacks.
So you're saying like what is it when you are not given creativity a space for creativity?
Yeah, and for me that I count that as like the different variables within different settings. I don't know,
Hmm.
that I think that's how I view it.
Yeah. I think
Which
I
could be
think this
different.
is probably just a difference in creative philosophy then, right? Because
Probably most likely.
yeah, because I think, hold on, yeah, that I have a very different approach I would have taken to that. I think, because was it Kevin and I have discussed before that what's it you're more interested in, I guess, managing those creative projects, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Whereas I'm like the more creatively invigorated,
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think what's interesting is when I think about that white space, that's for me a limit at which I can really test creativity and how far I could take it. And like it for me, it's interesting because it doesn't matter whether or not I'm forced to or not. I can make and I should be making stories out of that idea either way. So I think that's really interesting in that sense.
Yeah.
Then
And that's why you
that
fucking
there's a
write.
very yeah. So
That's
that's
why you
yeah.
write, and
So
I
that's
don't.
yeah. So that's where our disconnect happened. Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
I
But
think
I don't know.
I don't
Like,
know.
I think again, for me, it's all about that vibe. You know, like if it doesn't vibe well, it doesn't. It's it. Yeah, I don't know how to explain. I guess it's like me being like someone who like knows what good is. Like that's so bad to say. Like,
Hmm.
I think okay, so I can kind of relate this to what my professor talked about today. Actually, he talked about different way of learning, but in this case, we can try to talk about the process of creating
yeah.
because there was two different ways he was talking about. He talked about affective and cognitive. And affective is when you actually feel an emotional attachment or an emotional like there's an emotion that drives you to do this certain thing versus cognitive where it's harder for you because you're still using your brain to do something, but you like there's a resistance because you don't want to do it. You don't have an emotional connection to this thing that you're doing. Like you don't care.
Mm,
So, because the thing is, I think, I mean, yeah, we all have very different school of thoughts. Because
yeah.
for me, the way how you described it, um, how you describe the blank slate versus the variability, I just see mostly all photography as, um, never mind. Wait, I think I might know what you're talking. Oh wait, I think I might know what you're talking about now. Are you talking? Okay, let's say the difference between taking pictures in the city is taking pictures of the people, the life that everyone's walking around. You know, there's things that you can look out for and take pictures of, versus taking picture of a building in the city. You can't really move the building. You can't really control whether or not the lights are on. Like, is that the kind of difference that you were trying to convey,
I
or?
think that is probably like it's like okay, yes, but also like no, right? Because I'm fine with like taking pictures of buildings because the buildings themselves have meaning and the way you put them in a composition also has meaning.
Right.
But
But
in
uh-huh.
like a simple layman terms type of description, probably yeah, yeah,
Okay, okay. Genuine question.
yeah. Shoot.
Uh, how do I put this? What kind of scenario realistically will you have to deal with a situation where it's like the blank white space where you're forced to take a picture?
When you don't want to be in that class. No, 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 no.
When
Just
you,
kidding. For me, it's just that like
it's
I took
yeah.
photography, and I think it's probably like because the reason why I took photography was so that I could apply it into film, right?
Uh,
And when and the main thing for me with film is that it tells a story, right? It tells a story both figuratively and both like I get not figurative, both internally and externally. There we go. And that story is important, right? And I see that as like a very important thing to me, right? But while I was doing that photo shoot, it was just very dead inside. It was just there's no substance. There's no like yeah, the flower itself has story. The person I'm doing it has story. And probably the picture that I took has story saying that yeah, this is fucking boring, right? But like when I look at that picture, I just it's just like it could have just been better. It also could have
oh,
been like I don't know how to
okay.
explain it. It's
Wait,
it's a
wait, wait.
really weird feeling.
So it's like if I were to okay, so if that's the case, maybe are you talking about like pictures that people take all the time? Like for example, let's say Statue of Liberty. It's okay, it's to put it for lack of a better word, oversaturated. There's pictures everywhere. This it's people take pictures of it all the time. And sometimes people just take the picture to just say, "Oh, I was at Statue of Liberty." But okay, wait, where was I going? Because because you're saying like sometimes you look at a picture and it feels lifeless. It feels, what's the word, corporate.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
there it
okay.
is.
I
It feels
see.
Yeah,
it feels fake. It doesn't feel genuine. That's what it is.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
That's
Interesting.
definitely
There
it.
we go.
Dude,
I
you know what's
it's a little
funny? You know what's funny?
What's
We're
that?
a studio, and then we just totally forgot what the fuck corporate means.
Oh no, yeah, we're
Shit, we're gonna become corporate fucking beasts. Oh no, dude.
The
no.
funny thing was I actually found I got to corporate because I was thinking of that one video where it's like, why does corporate ads feel so fake? And it's
Oh,
like,
and like there's another
Oh,
I thought where it's like, why does corporate music sound so dead or something? As
yeah,
well? Yeah,
exactly. It's like it's motivational music, but not really. You're like,
yeah.
dang, that's kind of
yeah.
lie to us. So it's like that kind of feeling.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
yes, yes.
Everything
There
makes
we
sense
Oh my
go.
now. Oh
God,
my
boys,
god.
that was a
We've
very
got it.
interesting conversation, boys. And if you
Oh.
want more, subscribe to Ikigai Studios.
Oh no.
Oh yes,
So that's the dilemma you're going through in
probably. But again, like
photography.
that was only like we only did that photo shoot so that people could understand lighting. But like I
Ah,
full well knew what the fuck lighting was,
hmm.
so I was just like dead
Do
inside.
you know how to do good lighting? That's the real question.
Um,
With
I'm one of
practice.
those person who sees it and knows it's good.
Ah,
Oh, it's like
Um,
the
I mean,
feeling.
are you those people that knows how to do it though? I mean, just an interesting question. I think.
like what do you mean know how to do it?
Like know how to set
Because
up the like lighting or like manipulate
it,
lights so that it's like perfect.
because there's a difference between like what is it? It's if I were to take this example,
Yeah.
knowing an anime is
Mhm.
good versus actually producing a good
Yeah,
Yeah,
anime.
exactly,
exactly.
right? Yeah. So I'm
Where we are
curious
right
as to
now.
know. Yeah. I mean, I guess like again, that's the dynamic between me and Kevin right there, right? As producer, or at least future producer, future director, where I know how to create the creative stuff, but Kevin knows what's good.
I'm just here, man.
And then we can't bully you. We can't bully on for music because music
Yeah.
is.
You literally the thing it's so funny because whenever people trash something, a game or like a series, the music for some reason just people don't trash the music. They're
People
like, yeah,
never
it
Oh,
has
trash
that.
music. It's impossible to trash music.
oh,
Let's be
It
real
no,
here.
it
you
is
think,
possible, but I never like seen it.
Yeah, it's kind of rare, isn't it?
dude? Okay. Holy shit! I need to go on this
Oh,
ramble.
oh,
I think Ryan, you
okay.
remember. I was watching an anime, right? And
Uh-huh.
the stupid version of me thought, let's go look at the reviews from Mal, right? My anime list. Never fucking do that,
Mm.
guys. Don't ever. Whoever's
Never go to
listening,
math.
Bro, it
never
makes
read
me
reviews of
so
Mal.
depressed.
It
It's it's so bad. It's
if
so
It's
you
bad.
quite
are going to
distinctly
Mal, right? I suggest you only read the 10 out of 10s.
It's
Just so you can
true.
actually because I don't think you
They
should.
actually analyze it. That's the thing. The 10
Well,
out.
no. Also, if it's a 10 out of 10 for something that's like generally thought of as like kind of iffy, it's usually like a joke and you could get a laugh out of it
No,
as
okay,
well.
okay,
Right,
okay.
yeah.
Oh, but yeah, Kevin.
For me, okay, this is why you read 10 out of 10 reviews, right? Because there's
Mhm.
a reason why that show resonated with that person, right? And if
True,
you
true.
can't relate to it, then you probably won't enjoy the show as much as they do. Well, instead, when you read a 1, right, you're like, it, okay, I think people understand the feeling of hate more than they do of love.
Yeah.
And so when you read a
Okay,
review more
deep.
about
Okay.
hate, you begin to start hating it. But when you read a review a lot about love, you're more interested. You're more invested in
You can
knowing
see the
how.
passion behind it.
It's
Yeah.
already biased from the start. If you read a hateful review, like holy crap, I'm so glad that I read this review after I finished. But Violet Evergarden, there was that one review way
Oh
back then.
yes, yes, I remember this.
All of us were like molding over it, and at some point, I was like, guys, what's the point of doing this? We love the show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
And again, like that person, like as much as we shit on it, he was pretty. I mean,
It was
He,
pretty
he
bad. It was
went
a
off.
really bad
Yeah.
review. It was
I mean,
so
like
bad.
he had like
He had its
reasons.
reason, but it wasn't
Yeah.
very good. He had
I
its
mean,
reason. It
they're
wasn't
not
bad.
reasons that we agree with, basically.
Yeah.
Because we got to give people's opinions credit.
Yeah, I
You
think
know.
we gotta give credit what credit's
Yeah,
due. But
even
Well,
though even though
more
they
credit.
may differ from us, we
Yeah,
still have to give them credit, you know. But yes, there are
that
moments
amount of
where,
credit.
for at least us, we find questionable in terms of reasons
Yeah,
and
because
reasoning.
yeah, I just don't want to like, cause there's definitely people who don't like Violet Evergarden for like a
Yeah,
really good reason, and
probably.
I
Yeah.
don't want to discredit those people.
True. True.
I mean, the thing is, okay, so the review we read, in my personal opinion, for me, they didn't really give any good reason.
I
Like, there's one
mean,
of my
even that's subjective though.
no, that's the
Because
thing. That's why I said it was my opinion that
yeah.
I didn't like their review. But the thing is, sometimes, like for example, one of my friends who said he didn't like the way they set up the show and how they went through each episode and how it like built up. So that wasn't his thing. And I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. It's like the way how you like shows to be presented to you wasn't in Violet Evergarden.
I
It
mean,
makes
yeah.
sense why you wouldn't
Believe
like
it or
it.
not, actually, Kevin actually when I first introduced it to Kevin, he didn't like the beginning.
No,
Oh
I
yeah,
remember.
it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, here's the thing. Here's my honest opinion, right?
Hmm.
I still believe that there's things that could have been done better,
Yeah.
but
I
Yeah.
see that. I see that.
I
Oh.
still like the show nonetheless, you know.
Hmm.
But I mean,
Okay,
honestly, I don't
the thing
remember a lot of that review's reasons because I just it's no point of thinking
We
about
were
it.
very naive back then, weren't we?
No,
I did the
well,
same thing with Snafu, to be fair. So
the one thing I did remember from the review that I like really didn't like sit well with me was they said the music was bland, trash, and lifeless, and they didn't give any reason beyond that.
Okay,
That's why it didn't sit right with
I mean, people
yeah,
do that, and that's
me.
just
That's
something
why
that happens, you
th-
know.
at that point it's better to just move on than try to prove them wrong because they're not going to prove them wrong.
Yeah.
You're just going to keep going.
okay.
Yeah.
Back on
And
track of music,
also,
right?
Yeah, but yeah, going
I
back on
remember.
that.
I forgot what anime this was, right? But it was an
Hmm.
anime that like was like mediocre at best, right? And I
Yeah.
remember this guy went on, right? And you know what he fucking said?
Oh
The
boy.
music is boring. I'm like, what? How's it? Okay, I mean, and you know what? I think it's like it's boring, it's bland, it's all the same. I'm like, what? What? Hello? What? I don't understand how you can critique music without knowing music.
no,
Yeah,
no,
I
that's the
mean,
thing
that's
though.
the thing though. There are a lot of people that critique anime and not know how to produce it, you know, or not know how the inner workings of it.
No, no.
That I think that's
How
why me and
I
Kevin. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, no, okay, sorry. Okay, I'll just go to my point real quick. But how I see it is, non-musicians can critique music. It's when they don't back it up with actual reason. Maybe
Yeah.
they can. Maybe the reason can be simple as I don't know. This track versus this track, they use the same. I saw the same melody, and I found that they copy and pasted. Even though that's a very simple reason, that's still a reason. Instead of just saying adjectives and then just leaving it off there.
Yeah. I
Mm.
definitely agree. I think it's a
But
lot about
Brian,
that
yeah, what were you
reasoning.
gonna say?
I mean, oh fuck, I did lose my train of thought there. Not gonna
You were
lie.
saying something about you can't critique anime. If people can critique anime, but they don't know how to produce anime.
Yeah, right. So fuck, I think I lost my thought. I was gonna mention something about me and Kevin. I think, but I
That's
completely forgot.
a
But
you're in
in
class.
any case, I guess moving on so that we could just get the conversation flowing. Um, that said about evidence, though, I don't know. After watching a lot of stuff about people just having really quote unquote bad opinions, I don't necessarily, how should I put, think it's that bad if people don't have reasons to back it up. It's just an opinion that they have, and it's just that they chose not to explore it. You know, some people do explore it. Like I know me and Kevin will, and you, of course, will definitely explore reasons why we hate or like or love something. But there are people out there who just don't decide to do that, and that's fine. I think that just means that there's something inherently interesting or something off that they feel about it that they just haven't explored yet. And I think that just comes down to
I
if
think
people
it,
resonate with
yeah,
that or not and want to explore that or just continue on with their lives, you know? So
it's probably
I
when
don't
they don't want
necessarily
to. Oh my
oh
bad.
yeah. It's just that I don't find it necessary to invalidate people who have opinions and then quote unquote put use bad reasoning to back them up or don't have any reasons, because inherently there's just something that they either find wrong or I guess interesting or profound, I guess, whenever it's a negative or a positive way about the
Mm.
media they're consuming. You know?
To add on to you though, how I see it, I do see it the way you do nowadays, because back then I used to care a lot about people's opinion. Nowadays
Yeah.
I'm like, well, unless like I'm close to them and I want them to like, broaden their mindset or something,
Hmm.
engage with them in a discussion. A lot of times it's because they just, how do I put this? Not everything, I mean, as much as we do it, not everything has to be analyzed in deeply. You can
Oh
just
no.
enjoy things just for the surface level. You can turn off your brain and watch it and be like, ha, I like this thing, and just not understand any metaphors or symbol, and that's
Mm.
perfectly fine. The only
Yeah.
thing that sits wrong with me is when someone has an opinion and then goes into a discussion and then invalidate others because they think their opinion
Oh
is the
yes.
right.
That I do
That's
agree
where.
Yeah.
is
Yeah. Yeah.
inherently an issue. Mostly just because of it's a waste, honestly. It's a waste of
Exactly.
discussion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I dislike invalidating people with opinions in general. I don't like invalidating people, but that is a thing that needs to be, how should I put, not looked into, but just something to notice, I guess,
Mm.
that when you're going into a discussion, especially one that you want to engage with, or because at the end of the day, I think it's also that fear of having your mind being changed.
Mm.
I think at least from what I've seen my from what people have said on the internet or things I've seen on the internet, not necessarily anything that I have been familiar with, but I get the idea that people don't like their minds being changed or are very resilient when it comes to that. So I think that comes into play as well when people go into those type of discussions where someone may have a very negative opinion about a piece of media, but
Yeah.
they don't have any reasons to back it up. And I think it just comes down to the fact that having their minds being changed is something that they don't want. And whenever that's a good or a bad thing is, I guess, up for debate.
Yeah. I mean,
you know.
that's why I personally, cause like I think when you hear hateful stuff about the show that you like, you're gonna like be like, oh, I shouldn't like the show or whatever, right?
Hmm.
And that person will feel invalidated, right? But when you make things about, or like when you make like reviews about like why you like it, right? Instead of why you hate it, then that is like that's better because people who hate it are not going to read it unless they hate it so much that they care why people like it in the first place, right? But then
Yeah.
that person, I don't know. To me, that person is kind of sometimes rude.
Mm.
That's like
Yeah. I think
themselves, but
I get what you mean because
like when they
when
go out
you're
of the way to like actually like read it and then proceed to invalidate them even more.
yeah,
I'm fine
exactly.
with like people like who hate shows like with like a really good passion, right? And just read
Hmm.
like a good review and be like, no, that guy's wrong, right? But if you go out
Hmm.
of your way to like actually make someone feel bad and make them feel terrible and try to change their minds when they're just really there just to like just be like, yeah, I like this show.
Yeah, to show off some interesting aspects about a show that maybe other people haven't noticed. I feel that, especially with my favorite show, Girls and Panzer.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I mean, just as a personal anecdote and something that I will probably do sometime in the future, I am planning on doing a Girls on Panzer analysis review kind of deal, and it's one that differentiates from a lot of other people's opinions, where people say like the plot is garbage or it's just filled with plot armor or whatever. I want to. It's funny. I'm invalidating that technically, but I want to shed a new light on it. Oh, sorry about that.
That's fine. But yeah, I mean, that's why a lot of my essays that I do on my channel have really geared towards like I don't really like reviews. But like it's more geared towards like me myself, right?
or like
Mm-hmm.
what I found interesting while watching the show, or something that like I've experienced and I'm like, this is interesting. It's not facts, but I mean, take it how you will. It's kind of interesting. Share my thought on it, stuff like that. Like the new one that I wrote. It's about it's I don't know. I just want to like be like, yo, I listened to this song, I watched this film, and boom, bam, boom, I came to this conclusion because I got bored and it just ran through my mind, type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's what I want. Like, I don't ever want to like have a video where I shit on a show. Um,
Yeah, I've definitely learned that over the ages. I wanted to shit on a lot of shows in the past, but now I'm just like, I'm too tired for the negativity as well, And it's just like it just kind of ruins the vibe, I guess, of what I'm eventually going to write.
Right. That's the thing, though. It's kind of funny because I also had that experience. Because a lot of times in the past, I try to validate myself by going through what other people thought of the show. Eventually, I realized that, well, why would I care if I like the show? Then that's all that mattered.
I mean, I think that's interesting because there are many reasons why you should actually. Because well, I mean, not necessarily all of them apply to you or in the current moment, but I think one of them is the idea that you have that other people have seen things that you haven't, that they either appreciate or not appreciate about a certain work. So I mean, that's my, I guess, not counterpoint, but like an idea to add on to that thought.
Because how I see it, well, to expand on my thought, the thing is, when I see a review that critiques a show that I like, but it's well thought out, I do like to watch it because like in the end of the day, I can be like, wow, this show is really flawed. I still like it, and that's it. Like,
Yeah.
I have more insight. I'm talking more about just the really negative side of everything. That's where
Mm,
I used to go into that all the time, see what other people thought, and that would affect how I view the show. Eventually, I just pushed that out of the way. That's what I.
mm. I mean, yeah, I kind of get that. I mean, it's weird because I actually haven't gone into much of that territory, but the times I have, I think, are usually something I just kind of. I mean, how should I put this? Whenever I see something like that, I don't necessarily my first and this might go into a difference of relatability in terms of what other people think. Whenever I see something like that, I think, okay, why out of curiosity? I want to dive into what makes why this person has this opinion about it, even though he doesn't have anything to say, or have much to say. And if I find something that leads into a more interesting either discussion or an interesting lesson that I could keep in the back of my head. Or if there's nothing, then it's maybe it just comes down to the way it's presented or so, and then to try to formulate my own kind of methodology or mindset towards towards other people's opinions. Because I think for me as a creator, or at least someone who wants to be one, those are opinions and thoughts I have to take into effect when making or writing anything. So I don't know, just an interesting idea, I guess, and also a possibly useful tip for writers and directors out there.
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, like the funny thing is like as much as like I don't like reading bad reviews and stuff, and like
Mhm.
I'm all about the positivity and stuff like that. Like it's so much different when you actually make the thing, because when you make the thing, you actually care, right? Like not that like I don't care about like these shows that are made, right? But it's like I don't have the power to change how they make the story. I don't have the power to like like tell the animator do this way or change this thing. But like when you're actually making it, those things actually do matter because again, you want to make it perfect. You want to make a show that's for everyone. Which is
Yeah,
nearly,
definitely.
not even nearly, it is impossible to do, but taking, I mean, that's what us as creators have to do is to get close to that, which
Mhm.
is pretty hard, but yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. Because I don't know. Um, I don't know if okay. So I'll say something that I think Kevin and I have really gotten our are I guess a lesson nailed in. I'm not going to say names, and I'm not going to say the certain show because we do respect the hell of it. Um, but it's just something that I don't think is that needs to be touched on specifically, I guess, in terms of names or labels. But there was this moment where we saw this creator um, have really good ideas, but they talked um, about listening to critique and how sometimes there are critiques that in a way you shouldn't listen to. There's a little bit of nuance to it, such as just the way that more like a negative comment towards that critique. But so it's like it's kind of hard to listen to. It was the basics of that, and it's not worth your time to listen to it. But I think Kevin and I had a very different awakening when we saw that because it was we realized that it was like either way, if it's a negative or a positive opinion, no matter if it's backed or not backed, it's still something to be considered at the very least.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of Kevin and I, at least our basis of what we think of towards critique and review is like no matter if it's insignificant or significant to someone else, it should be viewed with equal amount of scrutiny.
Yeah.
So,
But when it comes to a show that I just want to like and keep it that way, I ain't
Yeah.
touching that.
yeah. When it comes to other shows, I think that we like to look at, it's a lot more different. Being in
Honestly,
the shoes of a creator and the shoes of an audience are very different, I think.
what is it? There was this show where a fantasy world collided with modern day Japan, and freaking a dude. It's like the whole military thing where they're trying
Dude,
to.
is this gay? Is this gay?
It is literally.
It is.
It,
It is
I
gay.
turn off my brain to watch it. Like I know
Yes,
some people don't like it.
absolutely.
Yeah,
but
that was
I
fun.
really like it.
It's such a fun watch, I will say.
I remember I came in like the middle of an episode that you were watching like during your like senior party, and I just watched it and I was just like, holy shit, bro. They
Yeah,
fighting-
it's so
they
fun.
fighting. But
Oh man, but yeah, I totally get what you mean by that because I know a lot of people have actually thrashed the show, which is I think interesting. But and there are I think valid reasons, as any opinion is, it's a valid reason towards to critique the show. But I think there are also again the fact that it's a fun kind of thing to watch has its own merit as well, and I think that's something that other studios and other shows have definitely emulated to a degree.
yeah, I mean, again, this is like where my thought process came from. Where like, if you want to watch a show because you like watching good shows, don't watch something bad about it. Like or trashing it. Because I remember watching a video that trashed Gate for being a bad show, right? And that was my thought of it. It's just like I should never watch this. But when I did,
Yeah.
I was just like, it's enjoyable. Like, yeah, it's like not,
Yeah.
thematically deep or stuff like that.
Mhm.
And of course, like
Yeah.
I don't mean to like bully anyone who like actually cares
Who
about
thinks otherwise? Yeah.
who thinks about like thematically deep is good because it can be, right? But like it wasn't thematically deep, but I still enjoyed it. And what's
Mhm.
you know
It was just about
Yeah.
Japan having modern weapons, just slaughtering anything.
yeah.
yeah, let Japan
It's funny
be, bro.
because I remember I remember I think Kevin and I might have watched the same video. I'm not I'm not gonna say names though, but I watched that review that thrashed it too. But it's interesting because what really got me into it was just like random YouTube clips that were just kind of fun to watch, and I was like, you know what, I want to learn more. I want to know more about this show, and you know what, I got sucked in, and I mean, it's not my favorite show, but it is a fun show, I will say.
Yeah,
And I'm just like, I mean, the review valid, but like again, it's just a really really fun watch. So I
Yeah.
mean, there are other things that reviewers don't always address, or things that you could always discover for yourself, which
yeah.
again is always a very cool thing to discover and learn.
Yeah, and like I don't know, for me, I've never watched an anime based on like an analysis video that I watched. I don't think, at least, right? Most of it came down to random clips, YouTube, or
True.
some really interesting synopsis.
Definitely.
So I mean, That's how I find my anime. I don't know
Yeah,
about everyone, because I know a
yeah.
whole bunch of people
Oh wait, I
different.
do find them through edits. Sometimes there's a really good edit. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah,
oh, I
yeah.
have to go
True,
check it out
true.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny. That's actually where I discovered Girls Love Panzer. They're just a really funny edit of it, and I was like hooked. And now I'm hooked on the show, waiting for Christmas when the third movie finally comes out.
But
There was a
yeah,
One Piece
because
edit that I really liked earlier. Like I found it. I can show you guys after because I don't want to play it now or get copyright strike.
Oh,
get
yeah, yeah.
copyright strike.
But
Oh my.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent that goes behind not only like the anime itself, but the community. I think, which is it's a really nice thing to see.
Yeah.
Because we talked a lot about reviewers, but there's obviously a lot more to it when it comes to a
Yeah, I
community
mean,
of people aside from just the opinions of that community.
yeah.
You know.
And again, it's just a review. Like,
Mhm.
it's just us just ranting.
Yeah, it's a good reviews are a really good way, especially if you've watched it, to in a way wrap things up to see what you could learn or what
Yeah.
what you can find out about something that you didn't know about. Maybe it'll reinvigorate to you to rewatch it again.
Yeah.
Have a good time part two.
And sometimes you just want to say something.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want to say this show is shitty, and
Oh
that's
yeah,
okay.
definitely. Yeah, that's okay.
sometimes I watch it just to be like, dang, this sucks. I keep watching it.
Yeah, yeah.
But hey, maybe if you hate it so much and you keep watching, maybe you do like it.
I mean, that's valid. I think that is a valid thing to think. I'm not gonna lie.
Because like I don't understand like why you watch a show to hate. Like if you really hate the show, like you think it's like 1 out of 10, and you like really hate it with like a passion. Why do you keep
But you still
watching
watch it. Yeah, that's the
There's
thing.
something, yeah, there is at the.
Yeah.
I mean, you may hate it, but it's not necessarily the fact that you may like something about it. I think it's just more the fact that there's something that engages you to
Yeah.
continue, which I think is interesting. And
Definitely, yeah.
this is, I mean, I could say the same thing for a lot of shows that I quote unquote hate but continue to watch.
I mean, yeah. Well, what I mean is like like if you hate the show so much, I mean, you could always just drop it.
Yeah, that's true. But for
But
those
yeah,
of you
I get
out
people
there,
who just like because like I watched Your Manga Sensei.
And
It hurt me.
I don't know. We watch Ruby, and we're just
Mhm.
sticking through. And sometimes I can't even finish it, but I just keep sticking through.
Oh,
I mean, for me,
It should.
I mean, I already come to terms with why I keep going with it. I mean, one reason, which is really carrying, I think at least like 50% of my reasoning for it, is the fact that I want to see it through to the end. I've invested this much time in, might as well like go with it, especially considering the fact that it's inspired me to become a filmmaker. It is, by the way, the show that pushed me to become a filmmaker slash anime guy. So.
Yeah.
We have like an emotional connection to it because
I do. I have a very emotional
Yeah.
connection to it.
like we can't look at it and be like,
It's
Well,
painful to look at it now, but
I'm
yeah,
disappointed,
it's still a connection.
but
And then you have
thank you
me.
for what you've done for us. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, and then you have me who just completely dropped it.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Completely understandable.
Yeah, but again,
You're
like
not
there's
liking
just these some shows just like if you're not having fun with it, you could hate a show, but you could still have like some fun with it, right? Whether you're learning something, whether you're doing something with it, like good on you, right? But if you just like absolutely hate it and it's a waste of your time, like and like of course like you gotta think deep about these things because Brian just wants to see Ruby to see it through to the end, which could just be a waste of time, but.
I mean, it's also.
that
I
is
mean,
still a reason.
to be fair, it's also. What's it? I mean, I don't mean to flack on anyone who works on the show, but it is also partially due to the fact that I could also learn some things from it, like AKA what not to do, what I should improve on within my own work.
Yeah.
That I could see similarities with. So
Yeah.
I mean,
And
there's also that. But yeah, anyways,
Yeah.
Kevin, continue on.
And hey, maybe maybe it's just me being dumb, right? But because I guess I value my time a lot, and so like I want to watch a good something like worth my time, so I just don't watch bad shows if it's not worth my time, and I guess that's why I don't watch like out of my comfort zone a lot as well. Because I'm just
I think that's valid. Yeah.
you know
It's not going to be valid to a lot of other people apparently, but it is valid. I think. which
Yep.
is
Some people just hate slice of life, and then I'm just here, it's like, come on,
yeah.
bro.
Yeah, I've always found it strange when people are like, "Oh, you haven't watched this show yet," or "Oh, you haven't, you don't like this kind of genre," or AKA don't prefer it. It's like I've always found it strange when people ask that because it's like, yeah, people have different opinions about different things. They want to relate to different genres or different themes within those genres, and find consistency with you know things that they enjoy in a way.
I mean, I've always been a person who like just kind of preaches like, again, a lot of the shows that you watch probably have a story with it. So like, if you can't find a story with an anime that like you're watching, then I don't know why you keep watching it. If it's because
Yeah,
to me that's just like, I don't know. It's like,
yeah.
because then if it has a story behind it, then it has impacted you either in a good or bad way.
Hmm.
Um, Whether the story is like small, big, medium, minuscule,
Yeah.
those sort of things. But yeah, I don't know. I don't fucking know. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm just vibing. I mean, that's
Yep.
why like sometimes I just don't watch shonen because I'm just like not in the mood for it. It's like I don't feel like it, so I just won't watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. But yeah, anime is crazy, bro. I guess the medium of just shows themselves is pretty crazy. Because it's just I don't know. Because like so many people can just like watch it and have opinions on it, you know. And so like there's so much like different thoughts, different ideas always being played out in people's
Yeah.
heads.
Definitely. And I think that's a really beautiful thing about anime as well. Just the fact that it's and I think I try to say this a lot, and I don't mean discredit like live action as well. This is just something I've personally seen with anime itself. It's a lot easier to play around with different styles and different like ideas and creative, you know, concepts that could be used as either story or themes or something. Because it's like, again, not to this is definitely not to discredit live action at all. There's just more or less praising anime for something that I think is kind of unique to it. You
Yeah.
get shows like Girls Last Tour, right, which is technically a
Oh,
post-apocalyptic like nightmare world, but it's not, or at least it doesn't. The execution is not that way. It's a very peaceful, surreal almost anime where you just kind of think about how life is in a way,
Hmm.
despite the fact that it's a post-apocalypse.
Yeah.
Uh, normally in those kind of things, you see like monsters like trying to rip
Rawr.
humans apart, or like zombies, or the last vestiges of humanity just clinging on to life. No, I mean, yes, the show has hints of that, but at the end of the day, it's more or less a very human story about trying to find meaning in life, trying to find purpose and drive to keep going on for the next day, regardless of whenever it's a post-apocalypse or the real mundane world. And I think that's something that anime has managed to do that I haven't seen any other work has done. Not
Hmm.
even anime itself in some cases.
the
Yeah.
thing is, honestly, I really like those scenarios where, as much as I love post-apocalypse, where humans are the one fighting for their survival, a lot of times it's nice to see like Girls Last Tour. Whenever I do see the genre, the scenario where they're kind of chilling
Yeah.
with the danger going around them, they're like, "Oh shoot, like don't go out during this time. This happens." And they're just enjoying tea while like who knows what goes on outside, and you're like, well, there goes another person. It's just very. It's I really like those setup. It allows a lot of comedic scenario as well as very well as Brian said, very human like
Hmm.
scenarios
Yeah.
that we can dive into.
Yeah. I love girls and girls.
Girls Last Tour, yeah.
Girls Luster. It's really something else.
Hmm.
Um,
And again, it's something that um, at least anime can be very unique about, because just again, the way that anime can just play around with whatever. and just try something,
Yeah.
just to try it and see if it's fun, see if it's nice for a large audience. Again, you get things like, again, Yiru Camp, which was like top of the list when it came out during its season, right? And that was like a studio that no one knew about. It's like, that's crazy. That's all that could happen in anime. That's you know, or
Yeah.
at least the production of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, something that I personally think again that like anime has is just again that freedom of just that where you can put that fucking camera wherever, up a skirt, down an asshole. That one's in hentai. That one's in hentai.
That is most certainly
Um,
hentai.
Interesting.
but you know, I think it's super cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, you could. There's a lot more you could play around with, as well as concepts that you could borrow from both the unconventional and conventional. I think
Yeah.
that just work.
Mm-hmm. It's I don't know. Anime is quite lovely, isn't it? In that sort of
Mm-hmm.
sense.
It's a very interesting medium of which to present a story. You know, because it plays so differently from cartoons and stuff like that. Yeah, there are definitely similarities, but you know, um, anime just happens to play a very different vibe in some cases where it could touch on multiple vibes. You know, whenever
Yeah.
it's stupid, funny, or like, super serious and profound.
Yeah. I think a good thing to relate it to um is it Racing into the Night by Yasobi?
Oh yes, yes, racing. Yeah.
Where like the
So
song's like super fucking poggers, right? And super
yeah,
hype, but then it's like, wait, this song's about suicide?
yeah.
What the
Yeah,
anime is like that, you know?
yeah. True, true.
It's like
I guess
fucking sucker
that
punches you.
might go into a hint of how like Japan portrays its media in a way. I think, which
Yeah.
is also a very interesting thing and something that I mean I would personally love to like research and go into. You know.
Yeah, it's like how, you have Japan where like, wow, look at this family status. Wow, look at, how cool romance is in high school and
Yeah.
shit like that. And
Mhm.
then you go to realize, oh wait, Japan probably has the highest fucking cheating rate, doesn't it? Wow.
Mm.
Because of the old amount of love hotels and all that shit.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, this shit's kind of fucked up. Um,
we of course talk in generalizations, but
yeah.
yeah.
Just showing some things may look cool and then also have a second meaning, which could be bad or good, or
Mhm.
not second meaning,
Yeah,
but yeah,
or at least
second face.
influences that have varying degrees of, effects, or have been affected by um, one's country, general society, etc.,
Yeah,
beliefs.
stuff like
Yeah.
that. Well, is it about time we do it
It might
on?
be.
It is
Yeah,
about time.
I
We
think,
have
we are getting
ran
to
this
that
to the
low.
ground.
All right.
Honestly, this podcast wasn't meant to happen, but we just went through with it, and
Don't say that. This is all scripted content, obviously.
Nothing's done on a whim here.
Yeah.
Never, never.
Thank you guys. Ikigai, meaning, what is it? The reason for being.
Oh
We
my
are
God.
tired, but for some reason you're watching us be tired and discuss anime, which we kind of came back to our roots. And our whole channel is like a love letter to anime.
True.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. I hope you guys take care out there. I'm on, and I'm signing off.
I'm Brian. I'm signing out.
I'm Kevin. I'm signing out.
Take care, y'all.
Bye.
Yep.
We'll
See
see
you
you next
guys.
month.
Peace.